to people when he sings. Well done, boy. One of those Nigerians, you know, Nigerian youth doing things in their little corners, affecting people's lives.
If we had the P-Man Awards, I wonder how many awards he would have won by now.
Oh, dear.
But we don't have P-Man Awards.
Talking about awards, well, we are about to talk about our own awards, the Nigeria Broadcasting Awards. Well, TNBA. These awards seek to recognize and celebrate broadcasters just like they do in other professions. In fact, it's come too late, hasn't it? TNBA is the brainchild of Mr. John Ugbe, Chairman, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, who, as part of his campaign promises, stated the need for the recognition of broadcast professionals. It is aimed at elevating broadcasting standards by motivating broadcasters to strive harder and excel more. I mean, you know that these days you tune a radio station, you listen to a presenter. Today he has an American accent, tomorrow he's changed to a British accent, and the third day you listen to him, you don't even know what kind of accent he has.
He's New Zealand.
So these awards are meant to improve those standards so that when you listen to a radio station, you can identify that this radio station meets all the standards as prescribed by the broadcasting organizations, and broadcasting is done in our country the way it is supposed to be done.
Absolutely.
Up there. Well, I'm not a member of that committee. We have two members here this morning who are going to tell us more about these awards. I'd like to welcome Mr. Guy Mora Bruce, who's chairman, TNBA Steering Committee. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We also have Mr. Jenkins, according to my partner, Mr. Jenkins, Alumona. His name is actually Jenkins. And he is the managing director and CEO of Strategic Outcomes Limited, and they are communications consultants to TNBA and is a former editor of the news magazine. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, where do I start? There's so much to talk about, Guy. You are the chairman of this steering committee. So would I be right to say that the buck stops at your table?
No, it stops on John's table, not my table. John Ugbe.
John Ugbe.
That's bond chairman.
But
however, in this committee.
Okay. Yeah, but it depends on what the committee tells them, right?
Yeah, got you.
Good.
Got you.
So that's where you come in. There's broadcasting, there's television, there's radio.
It's online.
Online.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it the regulated platforms?
Oh, okay.
So just radio and television then?
Radio, TV for the most part. If it's regulated, that's where we come in.
Okay.
If it's unregulated, like Instagram, that could be an issue because people sit in the bedrooms, broadcast things that don't make sense, and then we applaud them, but they're telling us stories that don't make sense.
Interesting. But I thought there was a proposal or consideration of the Minister of Information and Culture recently that the
run of
digital broadcasting will also be regulated. It's not in the works yet?
No, it's probably that's Ministry of Information.
Okay.
But in terms of NBC,
okay.
The governing body, NBC, regulates radio and television.
Okay.
That's all I know.
All right.
I don't think it's been passed yet.
How many categories are there, and how does one put forward a work to be judged?
Well, first of all, Nigerian broadcasting's the TNBA is going to hold in November, right? And we're looking at the spectrum of all broadcasters in the country, radio stations, TV stations, both all privately owned, state-owned, and federally owned. They're all part of the umbrella bond. And we have different categories. I think Jenkins has a list of all the categories there. But I know we have like best radio, best TV, best presenter, best on-air personality, best best
documentary
in
English,
and
in
indigenous language. There are quite a number of awards to be given out, but the most important thing is they must abide by the laws of the country and the regulations that guide broadcasters, the ethics of broadcasting. So obviously if we don't have the ethics of broadcasting, you cannot be part of the awards.
Okay.
Which raises the next question. My apologies, Alero. There are those who would say, other than the NBC code, which is especially directed at broadcast organizations, there isn't particularly, or rather, let me ask it as a question. Is there a book, a textbook for broadcast practitioners? Like, I mean, lawyers have their codes and stuff like that. Doctors have certain codes, and they're very proud of the Hippocratic Code, by the way, and all of that. So, is there such a thing that broadcast practitioners can measure themselves by and say, okay, I'm gonna tick this box, I'm gonna tick this box?
So, put it on the table. I have a first degree in mass communication.
Good.
And so in broadcast school, you're told the things to say, things not to say, elocution, the truth, always the truth, differentiate views and opinions from facts and news. Those are rules, they're universal rules. But the world keeps changing. We know that, and people keep making new rules as they go by. But there are still things that are like definitive about news, about what you guys do so well here. If you ask me, what do you think about what's the best football team in the world, I'm going to say it's Liverpool. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not news. So
and you get an award for that.
Yeah, you can give me an award for coming to talk about my views, but you can't now give me an award for coming to give the news, because Liverpool didn't win the Premiership last season. It was Man City. So we must differentiate between fact and opinion. I think those are rules that you're taught if you go to broadcast school or journalism school. But the world keeps changing, and it's now codes that rule. And those codes are, they move from geographies. Different geographies have different codes. So in Nigeria is the broadcasting codes by the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. There's been some controversy about it, but there's still a code, and still a majority of those codes are not in contention, so to say. So I think those are the rules that govern broadcasting. And so what the Broadcasting Award wants to do, or proposes to do, is objective, is to encourage broadcasters to do their jobs properly. The belief is that if you reward people, then you push them to do better.
Yeah.
And when people know there's a potential, there's a possibility for reward, then they tend to take themselves more seriously.
And do better
and
going
do better
forward. But let me ask a question that around something that Alero said when we started, talking about English Day, American tomorrow, New Zealand another day, and all of that. The official language in Nigeria, to the best of my knowledge, is British English. Will that language play any significant role in the awards for broadcast, for presenters, for instance?
Let me disappoint you. The official language in Nigeria is English. It's not British English. Okay. There is no official accent in Nigeria.
Okay.
So what will happen is that we will, in terms of the vote, how you determine who the winner is, 50% of the weight is from people out there, the consumers of this product, the people watching us now, hopefully, and 50% of it is determined by a panel of judges, of high-quality people with experience, knowledge, exposure in the industry. So what we expect to find is that balance. So the truth is, if this guy is speaking in a Swedish accent, I don't like him, I have 1,000 other channels to tune to. So it's my choice to say, I like the way Alero has spoken for 25, 30 years. Sorry, that long. Some of you might not know.
Yeah, oh, you mean almost 40?
Almost 40. But some other person might like some presenter that says, you know, how it's going to be tonight. It's a matter of choice, really. So it's a balance between technical quality and popularity. So we're going to find that balance.
Okay.
So work for the consumer.
Yes.
So Guy, how are you going to get entries in?
There'll be a call for entries, which Jenkins is going to talk about probably by the end of this month. People who send in their names, like Alerica say, use you as an example. You say, I would like to enter, and this is works I've done.
Okay.
And then the judges will determine, vote on you.
Works
you've done. Yes, it has to be
not just one.
No, it might,
series.
The chances are that, just like in many, we can say sending your best three. You understand?
Okay.
You know, and it doesn't have to be you. It can be Channel's television saying, you know what, we think we have the best presenters, the best morning show, and the best this XX, you know, Y.
So a station, an organization can put in for all the entries?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
How many awards are there in all?
There are possibly 28 awards.
Oh.
But there are also a few other awards that celebrate contributions to broadcasting and contributions to the industry. Those ones you don't enter for. Those ones are born saying, those ones is born saying, born might come and say, you know, for building this beautiful studio, you know, whoever built it deserves this award. Those ones are not voted for.
Okay.
But the ones that will be voted for, I think 28, both in English and indigenous language, both in radio and television.
That's a tall task. Because I know that one of the challenges that practitioners have had, you know, is in measuring indigenous languages, for instance, in particular, is how is what measured? For instance, there are dialects in Igbo language, there are dialects in Yoruba language. So how is it determination?
Since we're not measuring or rewarding dialectics and, you know, intonations and stuff like that, it's not as difficult as you think.
Oh,
so.
Really?
We're saying, what's the best news program in an indigenous language? We have 26 entries. We have this panel of super smart people in the room, and they reduce it to 5 or 10, and they ask people to vote. So it's about voting. And now you might ask me, so we have more people who speak Yoruba than they speak Igala. So how are you going to determine that? So at the end of the day, it becomes where the technical people come in and they say, you know, this presenter carries himself well. He verbalizes well. He speaks properly. He doesn't use foul language, because we're all Nigerians. We'll find people who speak all those languages. So look at those entries and say, this guy has been calling Ujuelegba, and so he's not making it. You know, so it's a lot of work. But because these are awards. These are peer awards from your peers. They carry more weight. There's a lot more work done towards determining who the winners are. So,
and that makes it more credible, because you have people in the industry, veteran industry players, voting or judging the media space. So it's not like you're getting people who don't understand the industry.
Again,
people with ethics.
That poses another challenge.
And integrity, not the integrity part of it.
That poses another challenge, Mr. Moripros, and here is why. Broadcast practice when Alero started, and broadcast practice today.
Completely different.
Very different.
Completely.
I know that.
Okay.
We couldn't operate equipment.
Okay.
You just went and presented. There were studio managers who operated the equipment. But these days, you are operating and presenting at the same time.
No, your job then, you had someone come, a librarian, bring the music to you in the studio. And then you had a studio manager play the music for you. But now, the presenter is the general manager of everything.
That's right.
So that's right. One of the that I said.
I couldn't present on radio today, for instance, because I wouldn't know how to operate the equipment. I'd have to go learn.
We'll give you someone. You can't go die with this experience that you have. Yes, you will give you someone to job for you.
We'll give a young guy.
Exactly.
So don't worry.
So that raises another question, because the orientation that the veterans grew up with is one, distinct, pristine. And so sometimes listening to the younger people today, can be very disappointing for a huge number of them. So how is that not going to play a role?
That's why you have the call for entries, and that's when they send in the resumes or entries, the professionals get to weed them out.
So, and the question is, who is a veteran? And so when Guy uses the word properly, veteran, I think somehow what we register is old men and women. So am I a veteran?
Yes, you are.
But I dare say that I'm as modern as I can get, because, I mean, I have the access. I have access to all the most current information. I consider myself a scholar of sorts. And so and I'm not talking about myself because I'm not going to be in the judging team, but I can tell you there are quite a number of Nigerians who you consider veterans, who are also young. And it's a panel of quite a number of people. We're going to have people in their 30s, 40s on that panel, who then will bring their own experience, their own knowledge, their own, maybe, what do you call it, recentness, permit me to use a word like that. And that creates the balance. It's not going to be a panel of, I'm sure when Guy says, veterans, maybe you're looking at some 60, 70.
Good you clear that.
Maybe professionals are.
It's good you clear that, because some are going to say, veterans.
No, it's not those kind of veterans.
Not old veterans. I didn't say old veterans. I said veterans.
Now,
however,
are they young veterans?
Yeah, there's some young professionals who are veterans in the industry.
When you say old, that's...
No.
That's coming to what some people will call hate speech.
No. We're not going old. It's not about
protest.
No. You're a professional.
And young at heart.
And young at heart.
All of that, of course, is leading to a huge event, which we hold in November, which we believe will be live on television in all born member stations.
Of course.
What it means is a huge opportunity for people who want to drive brand awareness to be part of it. So Born will be looking for sponsorship, obviously, so that we create an event that equals the kind of quality that we expect from Nigerian broadcasting. So it's not some small parlor event. It's a huge...
So it leads me to that natural question. What's the outlook going to look like? It's going to be on all broadcast stations in the country simultaneously?
Yes.
And a good number of them run on the stream live online as well.
Yeah.
So what's they going to be like? Give us an idea, an image, if you like, of what to expect.
So if you go on YouTube and you try watch the last Academy Awards, the last Oscars, so that's the kind of event we're planning. It's not going to be speeches and speeches and speeches. It's going to be celebrating professionals who have done, the belief is that when you push professionals to strive to win these awards, you drive their professionalism, you drive them to do better, and that impacts on our national development also, so that quality begets quality. So if people know that broadcast journalist knows that next year Channels won this year and we want to win it next year, it means we're going to look at Channels better and say we need to up the quality, so catch up and overtake Channels. And so many people striving to get up
and
there.
so for presenters and stuff like that, I want to win the award next year, so I've got to improve.
And don't forget, once awards are being given out to presenters and radio stations, TV stations, and the likes of that, it encourages young people in mass communications who want to come to journalism, say, hey, I want to be a broadcaster, I want to be journalism, I want to be a news reporter, I want to be great like they are. Okay. So I get an award.
Quick one. So on the screen right now are 13 of the award categories. Best radio and TV, best and all of that you'll find on the screen. What is also interesting is that this is, as you said, Mr. Alumona.
Jenkins, actually.
Okay, Jenkins, since we're broadcasters, essentially going to push people to do more for themselves. Now, a sizable number of broadcast practitioners look for where the money is, if I can use that term. You do well on radio and on television. Brands come to you and say they want to recruit you for this. We'll come back to that one. But you talked about brands wanting to sponsor and all of that. What do the brands get beyond just what's that thing? Commercials on TV and all of those things. What do the sponsoring brands get? What are there categories of sponsorships?
Yes, there will be categories of sponsorship. Well, of course, generally we need a name sponsor, a main sponsor, different kinds of. We are hoping that sometime down the line you will give us the opportunity to come talk about sponsorship, particularly. But what they get is, first of all, the eyeballs. So on that day, if you're Nigerian and you're watching television, there's a 70%, 80% chance that you will be watching the TNBAs because it's going to be. And the truth is, because we know that, we also intend to have a really big show on, so that it's not just because you are compelled to, because it's not, you're not forced to. You want to see it because of also the kind of people that we expect to be there, the kind of show we expect to put on, the kind of musicians we expect to be there. You're going to see all your superstars. You're going to see, you guys there. It's that kind of thing that drives people to want to see these award shows. The quality of the event itself and the quality of people being rewarded. That's one. Two, as a brand, you want to associate with such a beautiful event, such rewarding event, such an event that you believe will also drive the improvement of our country. Because I think that different legs of Nigeria need to come together to make the country work. If as a broadcaster, you don't know that you need to do your job better, then why do you expect the policeman to do his job better? And why do you expect some other person to do their jobs better?
Ouch. So, Jenkins, you're talking about an event akin to the Oscars, for instance.
Yeah, that's correct.
So we're going to see glamour and glitz and the whole works. So behind all of this, there has to be a lot of publicity. You are the communications person. So what kind of publicity do you plan to give all this leading up to the event in November?
Major publicity. That's why we're here. I mean, this is one place to start. A lot of people watch Sunrise. A lot of people depend on you guys. So because it's for broadcasters, we're recruiting every Nigerian broadcaster is part of the publicity plan. Because these are awards.
It's ours.
It's ours, yeah.
It's ours. So if you're watching, very soon we're going to launch the TVCs, the radio jingles and all that. And because
for those who don't know, TVC is TV commercial.
Yeah, TV commercial.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, just to be clear.
As opposed to...
Just to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As opposed to the other one.
Okay.
So because this belongs to... It's easier also because every broadcast station that's a member of BORN, and that is almost every broadcast station in Nigeria, is part of the effort to publicize this event. So it makes it, in terms of publicity, easy. And I'm talking including Africa Magic, even channels that are not broadcast stations on themselves, but that run on other platforms, on DSTV, on Star Times, all of that. So getting involved in this for a brand is ginormous. The opportunities are, it's like you get one, pay one, get a 300 free.
Wow. And don't forget, there are like 300 member stations in board.
Ooh.
That's
nationwide.
Nationwide. That's quite enormous. That's radio and television.
Okay. Now, there isn't much time. If this event, as you say, is going to hold in November, and it's going to be called for entries.
At the end of this month, in a few weeks.
In a few weeks.
You got your work cut out.
Oh, that's why he's grown white beards early. So, So there's the rollout by the end of this week. Okay.
End of this month.
Okay. Are the terms out already? okay, these are the things you need to do. These are the
Yeah, all done. Just
All
needs
done.
to be formed to be announced at the end of the month at some time, saying these are the call of entries, these are the criteria. This is the judging committee. A lot of work has been. The steering committee led by Guy meets every week.
Okay.
It's met every week for the last 3 months.
Okay. Is it going to be hard copies or soft copies?
There's a website.
Digital
website.
submission of
Website.
the
Website,
Okay.
tnba.ng, that you can go get additional information.
I'm going to check it right away. tnba.ng. So people can actually go start checking them out now?
Yes.
Okay.
TNBA.
So tnba.ng is the
And of course, we
website.
have all the social media handles, tnba.ng on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, you know. So all of that, you can get more information, and the entries will be done on that. There will be an alternative also of maybe sending your, digital copies to an email address just to make sure that, they all come in. I mean, this is 2022. Those things you don't need to post any letter. There will be no DHL involved.
You don't?
UPS or...
I don't know.
I have stamps. What do I do with them?
Time is running
So
out now.
support is required from individuals and organizations, both in cash and in kind. And like Jenkins said, it's like you pay for one and you get 300 for free, because this is going to be broadcast live all over Nigeria. Live, I said. I repeat, live. It's showing at the same time all over Nigeria.
Online.
Because all these broadcast stations are members of the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria.
And they all have strong online presence. That needs to be clear. So
Yeah.
it will be like, if you're not watching,
It'll be everywhere.
It'll be everywhere.
I mean, and like Jenkins, it'll be like watching the Oscars. You don't want to miss that, do you?
it's going to be like channel
The
7.
ladies are all going to be there strutting
will be
their
like
stuff, dressed to the hilt.
I need to rub this
All
in.
the latest fashions will be
It's
there.
going to be like channel television, which is ubiquitous. Yes, so...
I think you know. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I mean, this is, as they say, this is causa nostra. It is our cause. It is our thing. So let's do it.
This is a family affair now. So it's a family affair.
It is. It
All
is.
broadcasters.
It is. It is.
Take note.
The Nigeria Broadcasting Awards coming up in December. And watch out. The call for entries will be in November. The call for entries will be out at the end of this month. So if you are interested and you have something to put in, watch out. Don't miss the dates so that you can put in your entry and be part of it in November when it's all going to happen. You know how broadcast people are. We're very glamorous. You don't want to miss it.
You want to say you are very audacious. Just say.
Well, that's another way of saying it. So they will all be there.
You want
All
to
those
borrow,
people you see on TV.
You want to borrow Jenkins' word, ginormous.
Exactly. Mr. Guy
It's
Mora
time to
Bruce.
celebrate our own.
Absolutely.
Yes, Chairman, TNBA Steering Committee, and he's also the president of Silverbird Group. I forgot to say that at the beginning. How remiss of me.
That's okay.
And Mr. Jenkins, Alumona, also came along. He is also on the committee, and he is the CEO of Strategic Outcomes Limited, and they are the communications consultants for the entire event. Your support will be appreciated. Thank you very much. We shall be back in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Do stay with us.